I often wonder what type of response we would get if we asked people, what is Jesus' attitude against wealth or money? Most of us, I think, would say, well, he's obviously against it. Think of the gospel from last Sunday, and think of today's gospel as well, in which Jesus says, sell your possession and give alms. Make purses for yourself that do not wear out. Well, if that's the case, we're all in trouble. But obviously, I think we have to nuance what Jesus is saying. It may surprise most people to say Jesus is not against wealth. Jesus is not against money. Here's one place where Jesus says, use money, that tainted thing, to win you friends in the kingdom of heaven. And so what is Jesus' attitude towards wealth? Well, he's not worried so much about the money as he's worried about what it does to us. I'm sure that if we went through all the Gospels, we'd find that Jesus talks more about money and wealth and possessions than almost any other subject. And so obviously there's a concern that he has, and the concern is that it consumes us. Instead of something that we have, it tends to become something that possesses us, something that draws our whole attention, both away from God and even away from Jesus as well. And let's face it, the more we have, the more concerns we have, and the more that we have to look after it and that. But Jesus is reminding us that God has given to us this beautiful world, and we have to support our families, and we have to live. And so obviously, we need a certain amount of money, we need a certain amount of wealth, and we need a certain amount of concern about the things of this world. We can't take that radical attitude that everything of this world is evil or is bad. God has given it to us, and there's a certain beauty, and we are called to enjoy this life. The question is whether we get so wrapped up in it that we even forget about the God who has given it to us. You know, in many ways, we talk about our possessions, but really, they're not ours. God is the one who's given us everything. Excuse me. We didn't give life to ourselves. Yes, maybe we've earned things, but maybe it's in that earning that consumes us, that we're so busy earning things and we want more and more, that becomes the priority of our life. And Jesus wants us to have the kingdom of God and the message of the gospel as our priority. And so let us use the things that God has given to us, but don't let them possess us. There must things we possess as well. But you know, there's a certain irony to life. You know, we have our families, we buy a home, have a garage. First year, the car parks in the garage. The second year, the car is outside. Why? Because the garage is full of stuff, right? And then the children leave home. And then all of a sudden, mom and dad think, house is awfully big and awfully empty. Let's move to an apartment. And so what happens? Well, they have to give a lot of stuff away. Some maybe to their children, maybe a lot to them to thrift stores and things like that. And they move into an apartment. And so 7 or 8 rooms get moved into 3 or 4. And they're comfortable for a while. But then after that, they get older and realize they need a little more help. And so, again, they move into a retirement home. And again, they have to go through the whole process. We can't take everything with us. And you know, when we become so attached to these furnishings and to these things, what happens is we don't grow old gracefully. We resent all of this, and we don't become happy people. We resent having to give up things that mean so much to us, rather than using them and enjoying them when we can, but recognizing that's not what our life is all about. And so in some ironic way, God is preparing us to give up everything, and hopefully then our thoughts turn to the kingdom of God. You know, lots of times people criticize religious brothers and sisters and they say, you know, for these people who take a vow of poverty, they live comfortably. And yes, they do. because they understand the message of Jesus. Use the things of this world, but they don't possess any of it at all. It is held in common. And so they have learned how to use technology, how to use their cars, how to use everything in order to help them spread the gospel. Let us be like them. And so the riches that Jesus wants us to have is to embrace the sense of poverty. Poverty not in the sense that we don't have anything and that we starve to death, but poverty in the sense of detachment. We are not tied to all of these things. We are tied to God. We are tied to Christ.